I moved to my dad's when I was 10 and didn't know anyone in the area, except for the family my dad was friends with. Single mom with 3 kids. Luckily, there was a girl a couple years older than me, 12 at the time I met her, and we got to know each other a little over a couple years. We weren't close, but ended up having the same friends. One night, my friend Rob was hanging out with her and her younger brother. They happened to be in the house alone because my friend's mom was at work, which is where this gets terrifying and sad. Her mother has been helping this one lady through her work and got to know her fairly well. She found out her sister was in a mental institution and was let out recently. The night Rob is hanging out with my friend, they get a knock on the door. My friend thought it was just their mom. She knocks a certain way when coming in and answered it without thinking. Rob wasn't supposed to be there, and he took off through the window to his house down the road. He never thought twice about it. Wasn't her mom. It was the sister of the lady her mom was helping, and she figured out through talking to her sister where her family lived and her mom's working schedule. She came in, and this is where I don't know details, and I'm glad I don't. My friend's younger brother got away to the neighbors to call the police. The lady brutally murdered my friend a week from Christmas, decapitated her and left her body naked in a bathtub, hid her head. They had to look through the presents, and I don't know where they found it, but they did. I wasn't allowed to go to her funeral. The unsettling story of Elisa Lam is one that continues to baffle and horrify. In 2013, the 21-year-old Canadian student was staying at the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles, a place with a dark history of suicides, murders, and infamous residents, including serial killers. Lam was on a solo trip, keeping a blog about her adventures, but after a few days in LA, she suddenly vanished. The mysterious elevator footage. The most chilling clue in her disappearance is a 4-minute surveillance video from the hotel's elevator. In the footage, Elisa is seen behaving strangely, pressing multiple elevator buttons, stepping in and out of the elevator, hiding in the corner, and appearing to talk to someone unseen. At one point, she steps out of the elevator, and the doors close without moving. The video, released by the LAPD to help find Elisa, quickly went viral, sparking endless theories and speculation. Was she playing a game, as some suggested, or was she fleeing from someone? Others believed she might have been experiencing a psychotic episode. The footage is eerie, with the inexplicable behavior leaving more questions than answers. 2 weeks after the video was released, guests at the Cecil Hotel began complaining about low water pressure, strange-tasting water, and discolored tap water. Maintenance workers were sent to check the hotel's water tanks on the roof, and there, they made a horrifying discovery. Elisa Lam's body, floating lifelessly in one of the tanks. Her death was ruled as accidental drowning, with bipolar disorder listed as a significant factor. The coroner's report noted no signs of trauma or foul play, and toxicology tests were inconclusive due to the body's decomposition. But how Elisa ended up in the tank remains a mystery. The hotel's roof was locked, and the tanks were difficult to access. To this day, no one knows how she got there. Others have connected her death to the hotel's dark history, suggesting that the spirits of past victims might have influenced her behavior. The Cecil Hotel, now rebranded as Stay on Main, has been linked to numerous tragedies over the years, leading some to believe it is cursed. Elisa Lam's story has become a modern urban legend, inspiring countless internet sleuths, documentaries, and even a season of the TV show American Horror Story. Her case also serves as a reminder of the dangers of untreated mental illness and the tragic consequences it can have. Despite the official ruling of accidental death, the strange circumstances surrounding Elisa Lam's demise continue to haunt and fascinate. The unanswered questions, eerie footage, and the grim setting of the Cecil Hotel ensure that her story remains one of the most unsettling mysteries of our time. As a teen, my parents would send my sister and I up to New York for summer break. We'd do fun things like going camping, four-wheeling, off-roading, all type of fun activities, while visiting our relatives and friends. It was genuinely the best memories of my life. Until there was one night, though, that terrified me and always stuck in my mind. Me and my friend were out late at night, cruising in the car, windows down, listening to good music, having the best time. We were drunk, and my friend decided to throw beer cans out of the window, which was a bad idea because we were not alone in the area we were chilling at, although we thought so because the music was so loud and we were wasted anyways. A sequence of events led up to where we were being chased. My vision was cloudy because of the alcohol, but I remember these two guys pissed at us, and we weren't taking the situation very serious, just laughing it off and telling them to F off. I remember they were in no joking manner at all. What I recollect seeing was one guy had a on shotgun on standby, and the other had a strong country accent, sending us threat after threat. And what it looked like, they were deer hunters. They were absolutely pissed. But in an effort to hide, we went into a deeply wooded long road that was some kind of a county park or wildlife preserve. I'm not sure exactly because it wasn't a place we planned to go to or knew about. It just looked like a dark place where we could hide for a bit. As we are speeding through the woods, it was so dark, not really any streetlights or signs, and we swerved into like a mini park opening type area, unpaved, dirt road type, and our headlights revealed, in the dark, in a clearing in the woods, a gathering of about 8 to 10 people standing in a large circle, dressed in long white robes and white hoods. They were chanting in a low tone. As our headlights exposed them, they immediately turned to look in our direction. The hoods were all white, covering the whole face, just 2 holes for eyes. For a few seconds we stared at them, and they stared back. Suddenly one of them started sprinting at us in the car. My friend started cursing. I was screaming as he slammed on the gas and reversed out of there. We got out of there and made it home eventually. It was well after midnight, and I just remember us sitting quietly in the car in shock. We had no idea what we just saw. We figured it was the KKK or something, but we never talked about it again after that night. This was before the smartphone era, and it was before the Google everything mentality, so it never came to my mind to research it until today. I Googled the area we were in and KKK meetings in the woods in the middle of the night. I got an instant match. Whiskey Hollow Road, New York. It is a 5-mile road cutting through the woods that is now closed at night because the KKK and satanic cults frequently did meetings and ritual sacrifices there at night. It said it's rumored that people were murdered there, including children. Apparently it is very haunted. If you're interested, just Google it. The stories are horrible. That was crazy. A few years ago, when my daughter was a toddler, my wife and I used to take her to a nearby lake to picnic, swim, and just unwind. It was a peaceful spot, quiet, not too crowded, the kind of place where you could easily forget about the world for a while. One afternoon, after we'd finished eating, my wife decided to go for a quick swim while I stayed on the beach with our daughter. I watched her wade out into the water, the sun sparkling off the surface. A minute later, she suddenly stopped and turned to me, shouting something. At first I couldn't make out what she said, but her expression was off. Then I heard her clearly. I think I just stepped on someone's face. I froze for a second, thinking maybe she was joking. But the look on her face wasn't playful. It was pale, almost terrified. She quickly started making her way back to the shore, her legs moving faster, like she couldn't get out of the water fast enough. When she got back to me, she was visibly shaken. She said that while she was swimming, her foot brushed against something soft. And at first, she thought it was a rock or a weird patch of seaweed. But when she pressed her foot down, she felt the unmistakable shape of a face beneath the water. A nose, an eye socket. She swore she felt the hollow of the eye. I considered going in to check it out, but something stopped me. The unease in my gut. We decided to pack up and leave right after that. The next day, the local news reported that a young boy who had been missing for days was found drowned in that same lake, not far from where we had been. He'd been there the whole time, just beneath the surface. As sick and sadistic as it may sound, my wife is severely convinced she stepped on the corpse of his face. Around Halloween of 2010 or 11, I'm in Antelope, California, living in an apartment with my then-girlfriend who grew up Jehovah's Witness. She's never celebrated a birthday, let alone the best holiday of the year. But now that she's living by her own rules, she's up for some new experiences. She wants to wear a costume, walk the neighborhood streets. I have to admit, Halloween's my favorite time of year, so I'm more than happy to be the one to introduce it. The day that we get our costumes. Nothing crazy. She paints her face up in zombie or some kind of ghoul-like fashion. I decide to go with those little latex pieces you glue to your face and blend in with flesh tone paint. If you've ever been trick-or-treating, you should know what I'm talking about. It came out better than I could have hoped. I got one on my forehead that looks like a deep cut, another that looks like a big hole has been ripped out of my cheek. I drip some of that gelatinous fake blood that stays in place and looks fresh for hours. Anyways, it looked real. We both sat there and admired it for the next few hours before the sun starts setting and we hit the streets. Our apartment complex is surrounded by neighborhoods, so we've got plenty of residential streets to walk down. We walked house to house, door to door, looking at all the house decorations and kids wearing their sick Halloween costumes. We both at the time were in the Halloween spirit. My girlfriend insisted that we head a few blocks up to the cemetery. It was pitch black outside, and the cemetery has no lights. And to get there, you have to walk down that long, narrow road called Dyer's Lane. If you're from the Sacramento area, you've heard of it. At first I said no. There's no way. But no matter how many no's I tell her, girls have this strange way of making you say yes to the most daring things. To get there, we gotta walk a little ways, on a street that's pretty busy. It's extra busy this night. There's no sidewalk, just a bike lane wedged between the road and a grassy hill. We're walking against traffic. The sun is gone and it's just blinding yellow lights whooshing past us about every 3 seconds. The bike lane is steady, getting more narrow, and we're moving gradually up onto the hill. Her walking a few paces ahead of me, and me starting to think, this is getting a little sketchy. As we're going along, stuck walking at the edge of this steep hill and the busy road, when suddenly I hear the rev of an engine. 2 headlights coming our way suddenly turn into 4 as a big Ford F-250 tries to go around the slower car in front of it. The truck tries to move around it on the bike lane. Like all those Ford models, it has the extended side mirrors that stick out like 2 feet. I'm watching my girlfriend ahead of me. I try to reach out for her as the passenger side mirror slams into her right shoulder and spins her around. The mirror explodes into a million little pieces of plastic and glass. I run up to her. She's still standing, kind of dazed. Trying to get her to cooperate, I'm asking her if she's okay, and with a shallow look on her face, she starts nodding her head. But given we're near a graveyard site, I thought she wasn't trying to cause a big scene and say she's all right while still in pain, or maybe she wasn't hurt that bad. I'm terrified to look, but I gently pull her sweater to the side to check her shoulder. A faint bruise forming is all I see. She begins talking now, and after another minute of questioning, it seems she really is fine. In the meantime, the driver of the truck had pulled over with his hazards on a little down from the way we came. We both walk over there, both of us still kind of shocked and mixed in fear. The driver gets out. He's a Mexican guy, doesn't know a lot of English. He just keeps saying no insurance in a kind of have mercy on me tone. But how could you not have insurance on a transportation vehicle like that? What ran through my head at the time was, the stories aren't adding up. We're near a graveyard, and who say this guy actually does speak English or not? And what if he understands exactly what I'm saying? But this voice inside my head told me to be cool. He's still mumbling to her about no insurance. She's saying something about he needs to be more careful. He finally looks at me, and he stops talking completely. I see his eyes really studying my face while his turns white as a bedsheet. I'm really too freaked out from what just happened to put it all together. I am, however, outwardly calm. My girlfriend seems fine. She's talking, moving, breathing. Eventually, I'm okay enough to kind of start smiling, try to take the edge off of the guy and make him feel less freaked out too. We stand by the truck for a few minutes. Then, as the time passes, we decided not to press any charges and leave. Meanwhile, this guy's still just dead set on me and not saying anything. Me and her look at each other and mutually feel distraught. We tell him good night and walk off into the night. A little later, we're reminiscing on the situation and what happened, and why he looked at me almost with a blank expression on his face. What took place, especially near a gravesite, just didn't sit well with me. My girlfriend ended up being okay and all, but never again will I be convinced to ever do something like that again. It was definitely the most I've ever been scared on Halloween. This happened to me when I was about 5 or 6. I was still a child. I live in an outdoor apartment. The apartments I live in are kind of hard to explain, so I will try my best to describe the details. Now, the apartments I live in are kind of small, and when you go outside, you can see everyone living in a tight area, so you can pretty much see all your neighbors when they go outside. We also have backyards, but instead of it being in the back, it's right next to our front door with a blue wooden fence, kind of like a trailer park. It was an early morning, and I had to go to school, but I was still sleeping. I woke up to my mom's phone ringing right next to me. My mom saw that my aunt was calling. My aunt lives in the same apartment. For some reason, she didn't really answer her phone if my aunt was calling. Don't know why. But this time she decided to. My mom picked up, and I could hear my aunt in a very scared and panicked voice and said, "There's a crazy man going around trying to open people's doors." At first, my mom didn't really believe her, and I started to get a bit scared, so my mom said to my aunt, "Okay, thanks for telling me," and hanged up. I told my mom that I was scared, but she told me don't worry about it. My mom decided to go outside the yard just to make sure. Now my mom is very short, so she had to stand on those mini stepper workout machine we had. I will forever remember this. When she was still looking around outside the area immediately, I saw her running back inside the house in a panic mode from this tall built figure who I can describe as wearing shorts and no shirt, and she bolted back in the house, locked the yard, and went to lock the front door. When she had done that, we could hear the person that was outside our door banging on the door very loud and strong. I started to cry. He tried to open the door. I could just hear the doorknob make noise as he was trying to get in. He ended up going to the next door neighbor, but they had their door locked as well. One of our neighbors in the apartments ended up calling the police. The police came and arrested him. I went to go look at my back window and saw him with handcuffs sighting down. While the police were talking to him, they then put him the back sight and the police drove off. I saw him as they were driving off with his head down, looking sad. I sometimes always wonder, what would happen if my mom didn't lock the door in time? And what if you guys were in my same position? How would you react? He was a tall man, and he kind of looked buff, to be honest. He was wearing shorts and had no shirt on, and he was a bold man. I'm just glad me, my aunt, and my mom are alive to tell this story, because anything could have happened that day. If my mom wasn't a split second faster locking the doors, it sure is a crazy world we live in. Stay safe and remember, nothing is guaranteed. Love your family. Now.